Hi guys, and welcome to part 7 of the R2-D2 tutorial here in Blender. So by now you should have a body that's starting to look quite much like R2-D2's body, beginning to become recognizable there. In the last tutorial we cut out the hexagonal and circular shapes there on the side, and we also cut out these two holes that are in the front there. So actually what we're going to do first of all is we're going to start by filling in some details inside of this top hole here. So if we go over to our reference image, you can see it's going to be filled with these louvers or flaps, whatever we want to call them. I'm going to make those out of a separate primitive. So in object mode, we're going to create a cube. Just drag that cube out. We're going to want to scale that down. It's going to be relatively small. Definitely want to scale it on the z-axis to make it quite thin. Okay, probably a little bit more scale on the z. Once you've got that, you can kind of maneuver it into position. And we're going to want to scale a little bit on the y-axis, I think. And on the x-axis, a little narrower. Okay, so once we've got this, and it's kind of in position there, scale again on the Y. So once we're done with that, I'm going to go over into edit mode. Actually, first of all, what we're going to do is apply a mirror modifier to this. Come over to our modifiers, add a modifier, mirror modifier, mirror on the x-axis, and our mirror object will be the body there. So I want to position this so that it's going inside both side parts. It's been made out a little wider. Actually, we'll remove that mirror modifier, we'll apply it later. Just going to position that. We'll come into edit mode. We'll get our knife tool, make a loop cut lengthways around here. Grab this face. That's going to be extruded outwards. And now let's try with the mirror modifier. With our mirror object in the body there. Okay. Back into edit mode. Continue to drag this face out. Until the objects merge. And we'll apply this. We'll come back out into object mode. We'll apply that mirror modifier. Now we can center this up and we can scale it in the x-axis to get it to the size that we require. So you don't want it to be sticking out the sides there. So that's about right. And now the final thing we want to do is rotate it so it's at an angle, because these are kind of louvered. So we're going to rotate on the x-axis maybe around so much, a little bit more. Okay, and now that's done, we can scale on the z-axis a little bit. And again on the y. Make this a tad longer. Drag it back. Scale on X. Okay. So I think this is about looking good. We just got to position it as we require here. Okay. So now we've got one made and put into place. It's just a matter now of copying this or making an array of it down. So I go Command C, Command V, and change to the global coordinates so we can just drag it straight down. Command C, Command V. Okay, I think we're good with all of that. Come back out into object mode. Alright, so there's our detail placed there inside of the body. Now we've got a few more than what's in here. Doesn't matter so much. It's up to you as to exactly how many you want to place. You could have made them a little larger and had less of them if you wanted. So once we're done with that, we're going to want a similar thing below here. We need to make this recessed area first. So select our body, back here into edit mode. I'm going to go to the front view so we can see things square on. Now I want to make a knife cut. We say halfway along those. Select, and then we can select this edge, drag it back a little bit. We want to make a an area here that's approximately the same size as on this side, so it's probably about right. So if we then select these, we should have about the same distance on both sides. I think we need to come out a little bit more. Okay, check back to our reference image. So this area here then is going to be recessed inwards. And see here also how this works. So zoom out a bit, extrude inwards. So that's the area where our louvers are going to be placed. So now we can come back out into object mode. We can grab one of these, Command C, Command V, drag it down, and then we're just going to scale on the x-axis until we get it to about the size that we need. Drag it back inwards towards the body. And again, Command C, Command V. And we're just going to copy these down the inside of this channel. like so. Now I want to make a little bit of adjustment up here. I'm going to grab all of these and we'll move those back a little bit so they're recessed a little more. I'm going to move them up. I'm going to create another one. Shift those back. And we'll drag this down. Okay. Good with that. Right. So now we've added those details in to the front part of the body. Next part I'm going to do will be this area here inside the circular hole that we made. So again, I'm going to make this out of separate primitives. So here in object mode, we're going to create a new cylinder, which we'll just drag out. Now we're going to want to make that smooth shading. Scale it down. We'll go to a front view so we can get this proportioned correctly without any distortion. So we'll rotate on the x-axis 90 degrees. Approximately center it up. Scale. Check back to reference image. Okay, so we can see there. Now we can also, if we hide this object for a moment, we can see our reference image behind us there, which we can use to help us size everything. So probably about this size. And then I'm going to scale it on the y-axis, make it a bit narrower. We'll unhide our body so we can get this to about the right size. Okay, so scale on Y, a little narrower. Okay, go back to a front view. Again, going to hide our cylinder. Just nudge this into position. Check back to reference image. Okay, so you can see there's a recessed area in the middle, and then we've got these fins that come out on either side. So start off with the easy bit, which will be the recessed area in the middle. So we just select in edge select mode. We're going to want to select all of this, so Shift and Alt, select the rings, E, enter, scale, E to extrude again, we extrude inwards. Next thing, we want to mark up these edges as sharp, so we'll select all these edges and these edges, mesh, and edges, mark sharp. We'll add the edge split modifier to there. Okay, back into edit mode. Alright, now we can select the faces that we want to be colored, so we'll do that now. So it's silver edges around there, and blue around the top. So to make that, we're going to create a loop cut. faces, Shift and Alt, select all those faces there. Blue also on the inside. Materials. We're going to want to add a new material, make it that blue color again. We want another material. Actually, we can remove these. We can just select our material from here. So let's find our blue color. Silver will be our base, so we'll go for the silver one to start with. In a new material slot, we'll get the blue, go to assign, there we go. Okay, now again we just want to add the bevel to the edges. So again, back here in edit mode, edge select, we'll select all those edges and all these edges, Control B to bevel, 0.003. and 2 segments. Show our cylinder again. Okay, so there we have the beginnings of our shape. Now we've got these 4 fins that come out of there, so that's the next part we're going to need to build. So again, back in edit mode, fins stop just below the top edge there. So face select, I probably want maybe those top 5 there. And you're going to want the same on the opposite side. One, two, three, 4. Let's go with those 4. And then again here. Just kind of guessing which are the center ones, but I think we might have it there. So we should have an even space between each one. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we'll select this one and deselect this one, and I think we're good. Okay, so now we've got those. These are the bits that are going to need to be dragged out. Actually, I'm going to hide this again. Back into edit mode. Okay, let's take a look at our reference image, how these look like. They slope outwards on either side. Need to extrude as to scale. Something like this. I go into vertex mode and I'm going to join up these top vertices again. So this and this, then we'll go to merge at the last. Okay, and then we do the same on the other sides. Now after we've gone around and done all of that on all sides, we're then going to add some more shape to these. They're not quite done with yet. Last one. Okay, now we've got that. I'm going to grab these bottom edges. Go back to our front view. Basically what I want to do now is kind of line things up with our reference image there. So we can drag this out. Same then on this side. I can begin to get an idea of the shape that we're creating here. Check back here also to reference images. Okay, so now we're going to want to make a knife cut, and we'll go along the center of each one. Now I've got those. Can deselect this edge, so we just got those edges, and this will be dragged out and maybe scaled inwards a little bit. Okay, and I think we've pretty much got our shape, so we'll reveal the cylinder again, come back out into object mode, and there we have our shape now in the middle of the recess. So all we need to do now is do some coloring. So select our cylinder, into edit mode, we'll select these faces, and they will be assigned the blue color. There we go. And finally, we've just got the details that need to be put into the hexagonal side. Now we have a little bit more of a tricky job with this because we can only see it in an oblique angle from our front view there. The best view we've got really is in this reference image here. So you can see it's just kind of a series of circles, also a series of hexagons, so it won't be too hard to actually build up. Let's expose our body again there. What I'm going to do is go into edit mode, probably select this face, and maybe go to a localized view there, so align view. take a look now. Zoom around here. Okay, so that's about square on with that. Okay. Now we're going to want to create some new primitives. So we're going to go with a cylinder, and I'm just going to go with 8 sides to this cylinder. I'm going to go to a top view. And we'll drag this out to the side that we're at. Move it down. Scale. I'm going to rotate this x-axis 90 degrees, and we'll rotate it around on the z-axis until it's about square with us. We're going to position it in the center. Here we're going to scale on the y-axis. Let's make these quite thin. Now we can drag it back like so, scale the whole thing up. We're going to rotate that way until it matches up the orientation. Scale up, and last thing will be to drag it in a little bit. Okay, now we'll go over into edit mode, and I want to select these edges. Bevel them 0.003. Back out into object mode. Now we're going to create a stack of these. There's several on top of each other, stepped inwards on each one. So that's pretty easy to do. Just Command C, Command V to copy and paste. We'll drag it out and we scale it. Command C, Command V, drag out and scale. Command C and Command V, drag it out and scale again until we have our steps there. Finally then we're going to have a series of stepped rings on top of that, which again is very easy to do. We will create a new primitive, cylinder. This time we'll go with 24. Go to a top view, drag this out. I want to scale this. Again, it's going to need rotating. Rotate x-axis 90 degrees. And we'll rotate that around. Scale. Make it thinner. Now I want to position it on top of the hexagonals. Needs to be centered in there. Scale it up a little bit. Once that's done, you can see we have a stack of them concentric on top of each other, getting smaller. Again, I want to add a bevel first of all to this edge. Select the edge, Control B, 0.003, 2 segments, it's all good. Command C, Command V, drag it out and scale. Oops, need to go into object mode first, sorry. Command C and Command V, drag this out and scale. Command C and V, drag out and scale. And the last one. Done. Okay, so now we have the details inside of there as well. We'll just need to do some coloring to it, however you want it to look. And we're done with this part of the tutorial. So now our R2-D2's got some details there in the body area. Our front panel area is starting to look pretty good. We're going to continue working our way around the body. So I'm not going to go through it step by step. You already know in previous tutorials how to make these panels. So I'm just going to keep on referring to the reference image, create these other panels, and in the next tutorial we're going to begin with this bottom section of R2-D2, dragging that out, flattening off this side area here. We'll make the hole for the arms to go in, and then we'll move on to the head area. So I hope you find this tutorial useful. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.